The Toby Gribben Show podcast.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Toby Gribben Show podcast. Don't forget you can listen to the full show live at shoutradio.org.uk and all of the clips right here on the podcast. Anyway, enjoy the interview.
The lotto jackpot's been won. Again. Already. That's 3 times in just 3 months. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
Chris Bavin is a TV presenter and consumer affairs champion known for his shows Eat Well for Less, Britain in Bloom and Shop Well for the Planet. And Tracey is Nationwide Building Society's Chief Sustainability Officer. And they're both here with us just now. How are you both doing today?
Yeah, good, thank you, Toby.
Very well, thank you.
Now, there seems to be this culture, isn't there, of make do and mend. People are starting to do that now. What are people actually doing to save money?
Lots of different things, actually. I mean, we're seeing lots of, the research that Nationwide conducted has shown that people are eating out a lot less. They're trying to fix things and sew things up and mend and make do, as opposed to just replace, which obviously has a financial impact, but is also actually better for the environment. We need to be using less things. We need to be less wasteful. And I think people are starting to adopt that methodology, which in lots of ways is good.
And what's actually caused this? Is it the current cost of living crisis, or has it actually been going on for a little bit longer than that?
Well, I mean, in terms of the current cost of living crisis, I think it is having a big impact on people. From the survey we've been doing, like 47% of people are saying they're switching off unused appliances in their home. They're trying to reduce their electricity. 40% of people are turning their heating down or in fact off completely. And so, a lot of people really changing their behaviours around how they live. But what's interesting to Nationwide is that only 11% of people have been talking about making home improvements to make their homes more energy efficient. And that's an area that we really think there's a lot of potential for people to do more. Whether it's, a small thing like putting in a smart meter or a smart thermostat, something medium sized like getting your loft insulated, about a third of the lofts in the UK are not insulated properly, or a big thing like putting in solar panels or a heat pump. So, there are a lot of different things that people can do to really try and make their homes a lot cheaper to run.
Yeah. Is making your home greener accessible to most people?
Well, I think obviously there are some really big things that you can do that are going to require money, like putting in solar panels or heat pumps, even though there's now a government grant for heat pumps, so that helps. But actually there are a lot of quite simple things that you can do. So putting in radiator reflector panels, putting draft proofing around your windows and doors. As I say, putting in something like a smart meter is free. A smart thermostat costs somewhere between £100 and £200. So, there's a whole range of things you can do. And obviously Chris, gives advice about how to make changes without having to invest at all.
Yeah, I think, those behavioural changes are free and can have a fairly instant impact, going around making sure that you don't have unnecessarily appliances plugged in, making sure you're not leaving appliances on standby. One area that people can save money instantly is food waste. On average, we're wasting around £700 a year on food per household in the UK. So, there are lots of little changes that don't cost anything, should save you money and have a positive impact on the environment as well.
Yeah, and it's good to have you here today, Chris, because of course one of the shows you do, Eat Well for Less, is such a good example of how the average family is probably wasting a lot of money on food that they don't even realise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 8 years now doing Eat Well for Less has shown us that lots of us, make not mistakes is probably too strong a word, but we could certainly all save some money on our shopping. And if you think about, changing something that you do every day or every week, it doesn't take long for that to add up to a significant saving. So, try the own label, the own brands versus your big brands. As I mentioned, try and, reduce your food waste, try and eradicate it if you can. Batch cook, make sure you're utilizing your leftovers, make sure you're freezing, food. There's lots of little things you can do that do add up to a big saving.
Yeah, the hardest part, I suppose, is getting the children on board with new foods. How do you actually fix that issue?
Yeah, I mean, that's generally what we hear, when we meet a family for the first time. They say, the children must have this brand or this, or they'll only eat this or whatever. And they're generally more receptive to change than we give them credit for. But if you do have a particularly stubborn member of the family that really must have this big expensive brand or something, maybe it sounds a bit sneaky, but maybe try the taste test on them. Maybe decant a cheaper alternative into the big brand packaging and see if they actually do notice the difference. Because so much of what we taste and what we know is from what we see. So actually, if you think you're eating that particular ketchup, you might well be pleasantly surprised to find out that you're not.
Yeah, that's actually such a good idea. And Claire, can you tell us a little bit about the Green Homes Action Group as well?
Yeah, so Chris has made some really good points about how people can change their behaviour, but also we believe fundamentally we also need the government to step in and try and support here. This can't be something that people do on their own. So the Green Homes Action Group is a group of businesses and charities, and we've got shared interest in trying to make the UK's homes more energy efficient and cheaper to run. So it's organisations like the Federation of Master Builders, Nationwide, Trustmark, University College London, the Housing Charity Shelter. And we'd really like to see the government sort of stepping in a little bit more and doing more around helping people to retrofit their homes, whether that is launching a public information campaign so people can know a bit more about what options are out there and what to do, looking at financing. So I talked about the fact there's a government grant for heat pumps. We would love to see a government grant for insulation to encourage people to insulate their homes. And things, Toby, like having, we need hundreds of thousands of new jobs in green retrofitting. It's a massive opportunity for the whole country to see new jobs being created and doing things like installing insulation, putting in solar panels. And we'd really like to see the government doing more there as well to support that industry.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because, of course, this last year or so, insulation has been an issue that came into prominence. And I wonder if these protest tactics have actually paid off, despite, maybe the negative press around it.
Well, I mean, insulation is something that I guess Nationwide, we've been talking about for a little while. So, I think it's a trend and something that's really important. And it's also, given where we are today with the rising energy prices, Nationwide did a survey last year and it said something like, if energy prices went up by another £50 a month, you'd get a real step change in the number of people who are starting to think about that. Well, they have. And so now I think we're seeing the consequences of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where can we go to find out more information about this research?
So go have a look at the Nationwide website. There's a section in it called Greener Homes where we talk about what options people have. But Toby, there's also some really great information out there and lots of other websites. You could look at the Energy Saving Trust or Money Saving Expert. All of these websites give really good advice for people.
Great. Well, many thanks for coming on today. It's been great having you both here.
Thank you for having us.
Mr. Blue Sky. The lotto jackpot's been won. Again. Already. That's 3 times in just 3 months. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
The throbbing pulse of sound. The Toby Gribbon Show.